So are you setting up correctly for the ideal bench press? Hey guys, it's Ben Seong from Learn Australian Strength Performance and Learn ASP. Today we'll be delving into the bench press. It's a big movement, typically done on Mondays, which is International Chest Days in most places. And it's a movement chosen because it really targets the pec muscles. Question is, how do you set up for a bench press? There are various ways of setting up for a bench press that you might have seen walking to the gym. Some people like to really arch their back in performing a bench press, taking a wider grip on the bar. Now, what is the purpose of that? What are the benefits of doing so? Some people like to maintain a neutral arch, getting their feet on the floor. Some people like to raise their feet off the floor and just keeping their back on the bench itself. So we'll be delving into setting up correctly for a bench press based on the goals that you have for yourself. Which setup is ideal for you and your goals? The first style of bench pressing that we're going to look at is the conventional bench press. In a conventional bench press, the grip is slightly wider than my shoulders. Again, when I'm positioning myself on the bench, see my feet firmly planted on the floor. And if you can see, the arch of my back is neutral. Neutral meaning it is a normal arch. I'm not excessively arching my back, nor am I flattening my lower back. It is a standard arch, and I try to maintain that as I perform the bench press itself. So this is what we call a conventional bench press. It is a stable movement, and the movement is made stable also with my feet firmly planted on the floor. Often you would find that if your feet starts to come off the floor, this is what decreases the stability of the movement itself, which leads us to our next style of bench pressing. The second style of bench press is a style that you probably would have seen when you entered a bodybuilding gym. Now, this is very common. Guys will prop their legs up, flatten their back in order to perform a bench press. What are the benefits of a movement like that? Well, for one, because the lower back is being flattened, you do increase the range of movement of the bar when you're performing the activity itself. Now, remember, the bench press is a chest-focused activity, and when you increase the range of movement on the bar, you also increase the recruitment of muscle fibers. So can it elicit more muscle fiber recruitment? Potentially, yes. The problem with this particular activity is the lack of stability. The propping of the legs contributes to it. Now, when your legs are planted firmly on the floor, it forms a three-point stance of stability. So both feet on the floor with your lower back flat on the bench. That means you are stable and are able to lift a much heavier load. When your legs are propped up on the bench, the stability decreases. Hence, the amount of weight that you lift can be compromised, which also means that if you're pushing a really heavy load, there is a higher level of danger in you not being able to get that load up in the last rep where you're trying to grind out that particular weight itself. So a movement like that is not exactly a beneficial or a smart movement. It does help you to increase the range of movement of the bar itself, but you can probably do so with your legs flat and keeping a conscious intention to flatten the back as well, which would not be a problem if you really wanted to increase the range of movement. But with the increased stability, you will be able to support yourself better in performing a heavier bench press. The third variation of the bench press that I'm performing is a powerlifting stance bench press. And in this particular movement, you would see that my hands grip the bar in a much wider grip. I do this because it actually minimizes the range of movement of the bar, which is great and conducive for powerlifters. If you're a powerlifter, that's good for you. I also position my body in such a way where I pull my feet all the way back to create a massive arch on my lower back. You can see that the arch here is a lot more exaggerated than it is with the conventional bench press. Why is that the case? And the reason is because if I create a massive arch, my chest is brought upwards and closer towards the bar, which also reduces the range of movement that the bar needs to travel from the top to tapping my chest. Now remember, in a powerlifting competition, the goal is to bring the bar to the chest and back up again. If I can minimize the distance move, that also means I can lift a heavier load over a smaller distance, which allows me to win the competition. So for a powerlifter, such a stance is conducive. A massive arch, holding the feet back to create that tension and the stability and a wide grip on the bar. However, if your goal is to build your chest through hypertrophy, to build a bigger chest muscle, then by overly arching the back and minimizing the range of movement, you actually don't recruit as much muscle fibers as you would in a conventional bench press. So what are your goals? If your goal is to develop your chest, adopt a conventional bench press stance with your feet firmly planted on the floor and a neutral arch on the back. Again, if your goal is to lift an extremely heavy load over a short distance, then a powerlifting stance will do you better. So now that you have understood which setup suits you the best, go forth, use the information wisely, and make sure that you stimulate the muscles that you desire. Look forward to seeing you in our next YouTube episode. Stay tuned.